Thank you all for showing up for yourselves and yeah, to just tend to what's alive and to join this community and Brittany and I as we lean into the full moon and create this space to support us stepping into our calling, into our gifts and weaving those together and calling to support this community and in all of you mamas.
Yes, I'm so excited to see all these names. I would say faces, but everybody's got their cameras turned off. That's okay. We'll let you warm up and settle in, and maybe those of you that feel called will turn on your videos.
Yeah, I would
But no
love
pressure.
to. I had no pressure, and we also totally understand that there's probably no perfect timing to have a call when you have children. In the morning, it could be thrown off. In the evening, it could be dinner time and bedtime. So just being here with us, we totally just, yeah, support you and hold you up and understand why you can't be on camera. Hey, Amy, thank you so much for being here. Okay, wonderful. We're really excited and nervous. I think
Yeah.
it's really it's really fun that to be witnessed in the infancy of our collaboration and our creative process. Um, and I think there's no better audience or crowd to be witnessed in front of than other like conscious humans with huge tender empathetic hearts and knowing that each of you are stepping greater and deeper into your gifts and callings. So as like raw and vulnerable as this feels, it also feels really safe.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. But yes, we're working on finding what our signature is, or how we interweave our gifts together. And for both of us, dance and song is a huge part of that, and that's something that we're going to play around with tonight, which I'm excited about. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, and I don't know, should we just drop in and at least open the container and the space, and then we can share a little bit. Oh, Jess, I see you. Naturals. I tell you, it's a really gentle audience. um, but yeah, I would love to kind of unpack how we landed here and like with what we're creating and kind of give a little texture and life to it. But it feels good to just kind of like drop us into the space. Brittany, do you want to guide us into our bodies and set the intentions and just open the container?
Yeah, let's do that. So if you're in a space to do so, maybe just start tuning into your body, and that can be with your eyes closed or open. And you can choose to rock your body or even take your hands and place them where it feels good, just giving yourself some loving touch, really grounding in to this moment here and now. And just feel yourself starting to let go of your day, whether that was a work day, whether that was being at home with your little ones, whether that was running errands, just letting all of that start dropping away and really starting to create a sacred space right here, just within your own body, continuing to give yourself some really loving touch, some slow, deep breaths. And I just want to take a moment to call in each and every one of our guides to be with us, to support us, to guide us, to heighten our intuition, our perception, and to really take only that which is for our highest good away with us and leave all the rest behind. setting intentions to release that which has been showing itself to us over the past week. Starting to loosen those threads already for us as we step into ceremony on this beautiful full moon. And really opening up to this community, to this gathering of women also ready to honor themselves, honor the energies of the moon, and to step into a more sacred and consistent way of being, of living. Taking another slow, deep breath in, and just feeling your cells ground that much deeper to almost sink and hold us more firmly to the earth. Our bodies are our temples. They hold all the answers. They are our very own mystery school right here. We don't need all that's outside of us. We just tune in to the here and now. And again, maybe returning to a little bit of that swaying side to side or in circles. And where do you notice maybe any tension or pressure or looseness? And just taking stock of where your body's at right here in this moment. Again, coming back to really just opening this space to this sacred time, this connection with each other, this connection with whatever name you want to use for the higher power that flows through each and every one of us, that brings this life force energy and that guides our way. And again, may we get the highest good, what we each need to step more fully, more wholly, and more confidently, lovingly, and compassionately to ourselves and on our path. And this circle is now open.
So beautifully said. And I think it really definitely uh, encapsulates all the things that we have been talking about, wanting to deepen within ourselves. And as it is in the individual level, likely it is a reflection of the collective too. So I'm wondering, for those listening and tuning in, how did that feel? Did Brittany hit on some of the areas that you're wanting to expand and deepen in your life, in your existence, and how you're showing up in the world? Feel free to share in the chat. Oh, I'm echoing? Hold on a minute. Let's see. Can you hear the echo still? How is it now?
It's better.
Is it? I'll just have to, my air conditioner, my trusty air conditioning's right here. And I think Zoom attempts to muffle it out. So I will just really just radiate in the heat and the warmth of this hearth that is Costa Rica. Oh, all right. Yeah, so as Brittany and I are coming together, meanwhile, it's 29 degrees where Jess is, and I'm sure it's pretty cold in I think where Brittany is as well. Yeah, we can get a temp check in the chat. Where's everyone at with the weather and the seasons and the cycles. If you want to drop even where you're calling in from, that kind of just helps us get a pulse on the community and who's here.
Yeah, and I'm currently in Arkansas, but it's still 39 degrees here at my parents' house. So I didn't get anywhere warmer by any means.
I can beam you all the warmth. So if I'm like glistening by the end of the call, I'll take it as part of my release.
Mhm.
Um, oh, North Carolina, Northwest Houston. Yeah, so it's a little chilly. It's where you all are. All right. So as Brittany and I are working to and playing to weave together our magic and our gifts and step into our callings that have been knocking on our doors for a while, we asked each other, like, so what would you love to do? Like, what do healing sessions and ceremony and containers, like, what would they include? And I think we both have the scaffolding of like supporting mamas that are on healing journeys, like tending to our own healing and deepening our practices and sharing, learning from each other, from the community, cultivating a space where people can come together and feel seen. And so those are all I feel like are come like firsthand, you know, like it's how it's where we're being called. It's things that are in our comfort zone, shall we say. And the other parts, like that, in all honesty, when it was like, okay, but what else is there? For me, it was sharing how I've always loved song and I've always loved dance and I've always loved movement. And there was a quote that I kind of live by and always reflect on. And I posted it in one of the chats. And it's in many shamanic societies, if you came to a medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, depressed, they would ask one of four questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop being enchanted with stories? When did you stop being comforted by the sweet territory of silence? And then it goes on, there's a kind of an extension of that sentiment is where we stopped dancing, singing, being enchanted by stories, or finding comfort in the silence is where we have experienced the loss of soul. Dancing, singing, storytelling, and silence are the four universal healing salves. And because that's part of my practice and I know how supportive it is, I want to bring it to the table with the containers that I'm creating, but it's really out of my comfort zone to create and sing and dance in a circle in a container. But because I know how healing and supportive it is and how beautiful it is to do with other women, there's a part of me that's like, this is what you want to do, Sharon.
Yeah. And I'm on the same page. I've danced my whole life and I absolutely love it. And it's something Sharon and I have done back and forth. If a song has lyrics that have lit something up for us, we have conversations about it and it moves things in our bodies. And I know, or at least for me, it's really easy to get too serious in life, right? All the to-dos, all the constant needing to be productive. And for me, dancing and singing is a really great way that helps me to lighten up and be more playful and can either shift my vibration into something that's lighter and more joyful, or it can help draw out of me whatever stuck emotions there are so that I can move through them. Um, and so that's been really powerful. And lately, so singing and dancing has been on my own, not in front of or with a group. Um, has been a huge part for me. And silence, the sitting in silence, has been something that I've been really strongly called to strengthen in my own practice, just in recent months, even. And that's been making some great shifts also from, again, this and what a part of what we're all going to be releasing with this full moon is this restless busyness, or the taskmaster, or our biggest critic that kind of runs the show up here. But getting silent helps to kind of slow everything down, but also provides more space for us to hear those intuitive nudges or that guidance, or to know more deeply what's going on in all this below where the brain and the mind reside, which is where that mystery school is, or where all the magic comes from on what our next steps are, or what's ready to come up for acknowledgement.
Yeah, and I love what Alke says is this is so vital to me. I actually learned if I'm not singing, dancing, and creating something, I'm not okay and I spiral. And that's like such a beautiful awareness to come and like recognize how healing these medicines that we don't have to outsource. We don't have to like, you literally can bring song from your being into the moment of washing dishes, into the moment of diffusing an argument amongst your children, stepping away and singing in traffic. Like there's all these tools that we try to outsource, but our body is just so wired to support us with dance and song and silence, and then the power of storytelling and sharing and speaking our truths, and being among others who can witness us and who we can witness. And it supports us in not feeling so alone and not feeling as isolated as we oftentimes feel in real life, because we're trying to find that community that we haven't yet cultivated. And so I'm like, that's the other part, is it's just such a for me to sing and dance, I don't have to like set aside extra time to try to fit it in and let myself down. I can just begin weaving it into my everyday existence. It sounds like that's how you've figured things out a little bit too, Alke. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bad habit of anytime I wanted to go into a ritual or a ceremony or even to meditate, I turned it into this big production that was not sustainable, or I felt I needed a huge chunk of time. And that's just never, that hasn't been a realistic part of my existence for a while now. And to weave in singing and dancing, or even silence, because that can be done, when I'm laying in bed at night, or when I wake up in the morning, or when I'm sitting in my car before walking into anywhere. That has allowed me to have a more consistent practice, or to, I don't want to say multitask. And Sharon and I were talking about looking for another more intentional word for multitasking, but whether we're being with our kids, or we're cooking dinner, as she mentioned, or doing dishes, it's so easy to, put on a song that's really moving for us, or make up our own song, or humming, or just having something playing in our mind that kind of gets us into that space. And it can be done, when we're doing so many other things.
Mm, yeah. And in the chat, okay, again, shares how she's able, and where she wanted to like scream and like probably not let things out the most conscious and healthy way. Instead, she turned to the music and moved her body and kind of belted out the song, and how supportive that was to releasing and moving the energy, and how she felt so much better in the end. So I love that we have these like kind of like personal case studies for our own that we can lean into, and not take anybody else's words for it, but really move our bodies and see how that felt, sing something, hum something. And the other piece that Brittany and I both have been wanting to deepen our practice into is, and I, again, different words, like the word prayer or God or things like that based on like my upbringing and culture and what's been imprinted on me. I've had a lot of like navigating to do to try to find the right words that feel good for me and not constrictive, that feel expansive. But I have wanted to like deepen my practice of, for lack of a better word, like prayer and connecting and being really intentional with words and using like prayer to really like speak into existence what I'm wanting more of or what I'm needing help in. And in that conversation between Brittany and I, she shared a couple books with me written by someone named Pixie Lighthorse. And reading these prayers that this woman has created, without any connection to any like denomination or religion. It's strictly like praying to whatever you feel most connected with, whether it's creator, source, universe, God, goddess, the one, whatever feels really good, because we all have our own stories and blocks that we're trying to unpack and release so that we can connect with that like divinity in the most powerful and again like effortless way. And so we decided that in creating these moon ceremonies that we would be intentionally bringing in song and dance and silence and prayer and storytelling. And so that's kind of where we're at, and that's what we're wanting to support you all with, as we step into our gifts, and knowing that by doing this we're deepening our own practice, we're calling in more of what we want, and we're like connecting even deeper with our own desires. So that's kind of the other like scaffolding, the pillars of what we're kind of shaping this off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then just to give some context, just a little bit around this Gemini moon at 4 degrees, is 4 degrees is said to be the door to another dimension. And Gemini is all about that mental mind energy. And so what are we releasing, and what are we letting go of, this door to us leveling up how our mind, how that mental patterning supports us or guides us in our life. And essentially, again, takes it to the next level of our inner belonging, where we belong in ourselves. And that can present itself at different places in your chart. And like for me, it's been having a lot come up around social situations and witnessing within myself. I used to have this need to feel like I needed to say things to fit in, or having a lot of pressure to say the right things or mingle with the right people or try to fit in the language that was being used, or the types of conversations that were being said, and try to fit into those somehow. And really what has been coming up with me is, if it doesn't feel right for me to fit in, it's okay for me to sit back on the outskirts and just observe and know that it's okay for everybody to be in their space and in their energy and sharing in the way that they need to. And it's actually okay for me to release the pressure of that need to fit in, or to fill the silence, or however that presents itself. And we will be designing release statements, so I encourage you just over this next little bit to just start reflecting on what's been coming up for you over the past week, what's been revealing itself to you as far as the patterning of your self-talk. Have you noticed anything that maybe you thought was already released and taken care of, and it's coming back up for one last hurrah, or allowing you to take it to a deeper level? But what patterning of your mental being is kind of holding you back from feeling more of an inner belonging, or feeling like you're supported by that aspect of your being?
Yeah. That's beautiful. No, such awareness right there. And the word like assimilate, like just that desire to belong externally, because many of us didn't cultivate that sense of belonging within ourselves and our bodies growing up. And so I think for myself, the other thing that stood out on the things that you shared with me about the moon being in Gemini is the emphasis on self-love and what that looks like. And as far as for me, it's like discipline and showing up for myself and noticing where I am in some areas where I'm like hyper disciplined and really able to support myself in the choices that I make and do things in one area very strongly. But there's another side of the pendulum where there's parts of my life and the things how I want to show up where I haven't cultivated that discipline, and it ends up leaving me feeling disappointment, or it emphasizes that self-betrayal, or gosh, like just broken promises or lack of trust. And when you have those feelings within your being, like the sense of belonging and self-love is compromised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even putting others' needs above our own too, right? If there is a more intentional way or a way that we're being more called to spend our time with, but thinking about all the others. And again, that thinking about, oh, but maybe I should be doing this and I'll try to squeeze this in later. But it's the shoulds and it's the thinks and it's the doubts and it's the guilt tripping or shaming ourselves into doing something that wasn't what we were really being called to spend our energy on.
Yeah, and that leads me to this prayer from Pixie Light Horse. If you all want, I'd love to share it with you and just hear how hear how her words and her intentions really are pouring out of her. And for me, it just really touched my soul, and it's something that I'm craving more of. And so to make it part of my practice, to lean in and to be guided and to have a pulse on someone that is doing something in such a beautiful art form, the way that she is. So this prayer is called Honoring Practice. Thank you for this day of ritual devotion. Guide me to the mat, the trail, the teapot, the canvas, and the confrontation table today, so that I may test my flexibility and stay true to my form all the way to my edge. Be my mirror, my educator in matters of discipline and rhythm. Open the shelter of my mind to constructive, caring feedback. Let all that comes to me be my teacher. Move my form and feelings with dedicated habit. Help me to rehearse for growing stronger and more resilient. Stand me up like a mountain. Spread my arms wide, expanding and clearing the valves of my heart to help me to move from it. Point my fingers skyward and widen my stance. Wrap enormous wings around my legs to strengthen my rooted position. Train me for the battle which takes place within me in the form of fear and resistance. Help me to create spaciousness inside of my container to make steady progress with my breath, my invocations, and the attitudes that initiate my day. Lead air into my lungs, which comforts the grief held there. Enhance my supportive routines with the golden light of your encouragement, which shines through repetition. Let my body be a living ceremony. Bring me back to presence when I wander. Help me to refocus without shame when I lose my way. Make me brave to notice where my balance falters and I compromise my integrity. Rededicate me when I discover that I'm holding and protecting. Get me back to conscious feet when I fall. Let my wingspan be the bridge when my spirit and my body ignite the fire of my willingness during times of challenge and overcoming obstacles. Put in front of me those who will help me preserve in my attempts to effectively resolve inner and outer conflict. Remind me of my tools for perceiving what prevents my flow. Help me be attentive to my part in maintaining the quality of relationship I am called to cultivate. Help me puzzle together my healing form with the help of Earth's electricity moving upward through the soles of my feet. let me know I am not alone and that I never need to do it perfectly.
Thank you.
Okay, I wrote a post in the Academy container about walking into another dimension because of something amazing that happened right after class today. I love that you said this because yes, especially being mixed raised and raised by the family that did not give me more dominant traits, mixed race. Wasn't that prayer so powerful? Like it's so beautiful. Like until we're able to cultivate and craft our own words and like really weave together what we want. Like I'm just giving myself permission and guiding myself back to the presence of someone that says things so beautifully and really just like touches on my collective desires and wounds and what I'm struggling with. And I'll share the prayer in Mighty Networks so that you all can refer to it, print it out, come back to it over the week, and really allow it to kind of like permeate and infuse and allow yourself to kind of marinate in it.
Yeah, and I sometimes don't feel like I have the words to say, whether it be praying or offering gratitude or something along those lines. And something that I've been playing around with lately is just using sounds or humming or, a song without words to just feel the emotions that are coming forward, to have that be my prayer, my expression of gratitude, my asking for help and support. And that has been really helpful also.
Yeah. No, that expression sometimes, the silence and allowing that to just give us an opportunity to like scan what's alive. And if we don't have the words for it, really just like that invocation of what's alive, whether it's a hum or movement. Yeah, I love that.
And with that, should we put on one of the first songs to maybe just start moving our body and feeling into what's coming up, and whether that's also massaging or touching parts of our body, or whether that's allowing our body to fully move. And as you do that, just have the intention of cultivating that release statement for today also, or for this full moon. That if you feel called to share, you can share it, but to at least have for yourself. But let's maybe start out by going into the body and being with ourselves. You can have your cameras on or off. That's up to you. I'm going to practice visibility and keep mine on.
I am with you.
Yeah. And yeah, let's tune into our bodies and allow what's ready to come up to be released to maybe fully reveal itself, or to provide you with the words. But either way, allowing the energy to move through you. So even if the words don't fully come to you, you're still with the process and tuning into the energetics that are pulsing through the earth from the cosmos right now, to be fully in support of us rising to that next level of our being.
Yeah, I love that. And just for clarification, are we going wordless or the song with words?
Hmm. I Let's maybe do wordless. Jess
Okay.
voted, and I'll let that take the lead.
Oh, yay. Oh,
Thank
I
you, Jess.
love that. Work it out.
It's not going to be twerking it out. It's going to be a little slower. We'll have some of those in the other ceremonies. So,
One day
yeah.
we're going to go so deep into like stepping into this calling that we will be thumping and definitely like raising the roof and the hands and our bodies and really coming alive. We're easing our way into this. Yes. Um, Let me pull up the song. Just give me un momento. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going for share screen. All right. Give me the nod once you can.
Yep.
Awesome.
And about how many minutes do we have? Just so everybody has
There is about 4 minutes.
start
And
tuning
you,
in how you feel called to do.
I'm in such a small space. I had to move my chair, so I'm going to bring my chair back.
I love the feel of the emotions in that. song.
Yeah. You know what really, it really allowed me to step into the place of like really embodying like the choice of like a path that's always before us. Like, so for me, that feeling of like fully wanting to step into like being expressed and authentic and showing up in my love of dance and song, and also feeling the fear and the worry of judgment or not belonging or all of those things. And really like as I like rocked from one foot to the other, I could just feel like fully both of those are in me, like both of those existence, both of those versions are within me, and it is my choice to either stay in my comfort zone, stay safe, stay worried about the external, and or really drop those stories, release the fears, release all of the external validation pieces that so many of us have like been imprinted with, so that I can fully step into like what my heart, like that song was like so tugging at my heart of like, this is what you want to do. And all that other stuff was alive as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it was actively actively releasing um throughout that whole part and observing what was coming up with my mind, like this balance of intuitively moving my body and being with the feelings and having like just being a witness to the story patterns coming up as I'm practicing this visibility and tuning into what the song was bringing up for me. So that was beautiful.
Yeah, and in the chat, okay, it literally felt like I was accessing the divine, and it allowed me to pull it down to be and was embracing me in the healing, loving hugs, moving my body to move this loving, healing energy around. Like, not that just be our existence, sun up to sundown. Like, yes, please. Like to strip away and release anything that is standing in my way or preventing me from like living like that 24/7. Like, that's what I'm ready to release.
Mm-hmm.
Jess is, I feel like I auto trance when I do interpretive heart soul dance in secret. Well, I cannot wait until you take it out of
The
secret and
camera.
oh, yeah, it's like dance is such it's almost, yeah, like there is like this auto trance. There's something that exists in us, especially when we don't think and we just allow our body and you know, sometimes to warm up, if it's hard to begin the movement process, to just like start playing with your fingers and allowing your hands and your fingers to dance, allowing that come into your arms, allowing your feet and your hips to sway, you know, just like easing your body into it. And your body does have its own expression that literally feels like it's beyond control when you turn your mind off.
Mm-hmm.
Loading. One of these days that camera's going to be on. Oh, yeah. But we understand. I mean, like that, I felt it. I felt it, you know, like that. I know that none of y'all are judging me, and yet I still have those stories in me. And even with Brittany, like we are diving so deep into this collaboration, and there's still elements of like me moving through any resistance and releasing anything that would have anything but like, heck yes, let's just show up like this. Let me just be so authentically me and know that by doing that, I'm not risking my belonging. She's not going to love me any less. You all aren't going to love me any less. You know, like you're going to actually, your people are going to love you more when you fully come alive and fully show up, because that's just the way it is with your people. Really, you wouldn't have been able to see me because of the camera. Honestly, if we were in person, I'd be all good to be fully nerd bird. All right. So we're talking in-person moon ceremonies, retreats at some point. Sounds amazing.
Yes.
Oh,
Put that on our
yeah.
board of future state.
That sounds amazing. Oh, yeah. So with that, I was wanting to invite us, we were wanting to invite you all into formulating some type of release statement. And our vision was to get, as we want to grow these calls, we want to grow the connection and the conversation. We want to know what others are releasing, because every time we've been on calls where people are sharing either their intentions or their I am statements or their release statements, there's so much that is said that I don't have the words for, but I'm like, yes, that needs to go and that needs to go. And so we have planted the seed of intention of like cultivating this storytelling like approach as we weave together all of our release statements or our I am statements. And we're a pretty small group right now. But I would still love, if it's come up for you, if there's something that you are ready to release, I would love, and we would love to hear that. And in an attempt for me to connect in with my prayer voice, or like what I was wanting to do, I sat for a little bit and kind of created my own, I guess, I don't know, it was a prayer or an invocation. It's just like what, and maybe something that I want to share for others. And I want to read it to you. And it says I, because it felt more powerful that way, because it was first written as you or we and our. But I'd love to invite you to feel into this, and yeah, and I'm just going to be my vulnerable, authentic self and read what came through this today as I was navigating that. As I stand under the radiant glow of the full moon this evening, I embrace the energy of this celestial event to release and let go of what is not working for me, allowing the full moon to serve as a mirror, its reflection illuminating the path towards my deepest desires, and also shining light on the places and spaces where I need deeper insight into what is hindering my growth and evolution. May the full moon also serve as my reminder to take time to celebrate the harvest of that which I have been cultivating from the seeds of intention that I planted during the new moon. In the spirit of growth, transformation, and sacred motherhood, I seek to tap into what energies, emotions, and patterns that don't serve my highest purpose to be released. But first, I will look at them through the lens of compassion and grace, holding them tenderly to my heart so that I can see how they have served me up until this point. Releasing them with gratitude, it is time to make space for the nourishing and nurturing energy of creation to fill the crevices and the void left behind. I acknowledge that some of these things that I am releasing have been residing within my being for a remarkably long time, coded in my DNA, passed through lifetimes, and woven through generations, deep imprints and programs that don't belong to me. I stand in awe of the natural cycles of this life that are inseparable from me, and I trust in these rhythms to hold and support my evolution. Leaning into the beauty and constant presence of the moon and its phases, I use it to guide me deeper into my own being and support my unique journey of motherhood and healing. May this release be a symbol of my commitment to growth, healing, and the embodiment of sacred mama wholeness. Mm.
You have such a way with words.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot to release like blocks that prevent those from flowing, to quiet the mind, to trust and allow the space and the silence for those to come through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if there's anybody else who would like to share their release statement in the chat, just something that's simple. It can be simple, like I release the need to fill spaces with words, or I release the pressure of my mind to stay busy, or it can I don't have the gift of words that Sharon has. Well, so
Yet, yet.
having something that tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much collectively that needs to be released. You know, there's so much that we're all walking around with, like around visibility, around like owning and knowing our gifts and our wisdom, releasing around friendship and sisterhood, stories of what work should look like,
Mm-hmm.
stories of like what play is, stories of how to tend to our self love and to our rituals and our rhythms and our practices. Like, there's a lot that stands in our way from fully accessing the most divine expression of ourselves and our most oh yeah, just radiant and vital, like the vitality piece.
Yeah. And I know we're getting close to time, and I would like to drop us into a little activation with the support of the energies flowing through right now.
Yeah.
Does that feel good to go ahead and jump into?
Yes, please. Release all the shit. Well, all the poop emoticons.
Yeah, and I am not I'm not a person that words just come to me, or that it sounds very eloquent. And so don't feel pressure to have it pulled out in a statement, because if you feel it, or you've witnessed it over the past several days, or maybe you witness it over the next couple of days, the really important part is that you are just in this space of self-awareness and observation of what are the mental patternings coming up, and what are you seeing, what are the voices that are keeping you small or dimming your light, um, and then creating the intention around that of, okay, this right here going on is what I'm ready to let go of. I see it, I'm fully conscious and aware of it, and this is what is going with this full moon.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And also, like, if you're having a hard time, like, really anchoring into like what you deeply desire, whether you're trying to be a more conscious friend or whether you're trying to be a different type of mother or parent, like, really just focusing on like where you're really wanting to go, and that like hiccup, that like wall that keeps like stopping you, like even just like identifying and recognizing that there's something that is repeatedly showing up that is blocking you from like fully stepping into like what you are deeply desiring in your heart. There's a couple things in the chat. Do you want to read them? Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. I still have my dry cough going on, so I forgot I muted myself. So Jess shared, I struggle with the statement, but have realized that in my being, the knowingness of what needs to transmute is there. So intending to do so is part of the process for me, even if I don't have the best words yet.
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. I am in a similar space. I keep trying to put it into words, and I fully know what's there, but putting it into words is the hard part. But I know what needs to go. And Alki, and I apologize if I'm not saying that correct. I release
Yeah.
anything, everything that was connected to this old paradigm I left today, and cut all cords of access to that old dimensional self. I'm a higher ascended being as I went through, and succeeds in my personal initiation, bringing me close to my highest self. Nothing in my current world exists to lower me back to where I left my lower self.
Mm, powerful. So
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
All right. You want to take us into a little Little
Yeah,
journey.
do a little journey, and we'll do a close also, but we'll give time to share if that feels right for everybody afterward. Okay. So again, this will just be a brief, because time flies. It'll be a brief little activation. So if it feels right to you, again, just go ahead and close your eyes and settle in. And start breathing into this body temple of yours. And having each of our guides here that is having the highest good and intention for us to support us in receiving exactly what we need. And I call out to that great creator, that source, original, absolutely loving consciousness to form a beam of light surrounding us, holding our essence, and allowing these energies, these supportive, clearing, cleaning energies to come in through our crown and illuminate these old templates, these old paradigms to show us what's going on. And I ask you to just tune into your mental layer, to that mental part of your being. Really feel into its boundaries, its outer perimeters, its inner workings. Noticing what colors you see, what textures. Does it feel free flowing? Does it feel jagged? Does it have a density to it or a darkness? Or is it light and bright? Just knowing, just observing, just seeing. Bringing our conscious awareness to what's already there automatically allows the shifts to start happening. Noticing if there's any cords, any hooks, any holes. And then allowing this beautiful light of the original source consciousness to come in and start clearing up and shifting these old templates and these old patterns. Start transitioning and taking them through that dimensional door that starts upgrading them to start lightening them, clearing the clutter, clearing the density, bringing the light, bringing the new constructs that support us stepping into our bigger, bolder, more beautiful, more empowered ways of being. We're stepping out of this paradigm that's keeping us small, keeping us living in fear. And it's allowing us to, again, hold our heads higher, fill our whole being. This whole being that we are is mostly water. And when that self-talk, when those emotions, when that mental way of being all comes together to have a more positive spin, a more positive outlook, a higher vibrational, a higher dimensional look, it changes our whole way of being. Water remembers everything that we've said, heard, done, and we're shifting what our own mental layer of our being is contributing to the memory within every molecule of this body, of this temple that we're living in. And breathing that light all the way down into your root chakra to anchor it into your being. We're anchoring in this new template, this new dimensional way of supporting our whole body, starting with the mental layer of our being. Maybe just letting your Do a little bit of head circles, rolling your head around. And shimmying your shoulders, shaking out your arms, just allowing all that energy to settle down deeper into your being. Maybe settling with wiggling your hips. Just knowing that the energies are with you, the support and the guidance is with you. It's with each and every one of us. Continuing to work its magic on supporting us on shifting these patterns that we've had for our whole lives. We're letting go of these patterns, letting go of these weights, and we're stepping forward with a new lightness, a new support system that will take practice and will take reinforcement and will take reminding. But these energies and our guides and that source consciousness is here to support us in this journey of stepping forward into a new sense of inner belonging, a new inner support structure. With that, blessed be, and you can come out of it whenever you're ready.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And as we wrap up, if there's anything that anybody wants to reflect on or share, anything that would benefit the collective, by adding it in the chat, we'd love to hear it. I have another song that we can kind of close out to, and if you have to drop off the call a little bit earlier, we can do that. But I feel like it would be good just to get us moving again. It feels really good to just keep flexing this muscle. Like, yeah, this is what we love to do. This is what we know is super supportive. And so let me see if I can pull up the other song. Can you hear it?
Release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no longer serve me. I release all things that no longer work for me. I release all things that no